So I do have some bad news. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So of course it is spooky season and that is my favorite. Comment down below some spooky video ideas. I've got a few things planned, but of course I want to know if you guys have ideas too. Also, shout out to Katie for joining my Patreon. Thank you so much, Katie. If you want to join my Patreon, link is down below, and let's get into it. So if keeping tarantulas and other inverts wasn't already kind of weird and obscure enough to the average person, I've noticed another thing a lot of us all seem to do is preserve our specimens. Now, there are a few that I have actually thrown away or buried, but I've also got a handful that I preserved for whatever reason. And I will say this, I have never regretted preserving a specimen, but I have regretted throwing one away. How I preserve them is really simple. I just use straight up alcohol and put them in a glass jar and call it a day. Long term, it might yellow, but if you keep it out of direct sunlight, you really probably won't ever have to change it. So I've got a few down here below that I have preserved, and I thought I could show you guys them. So the first one that I'm going to show you guys is my first loss in my collection ever, and that was Hex, my Asian forest scorpion. I will say that he really did help this channel grow, because my first feeding video that ever really got a large amount of attention for what my channel was back then was feeding my tarantulas plus a bad thing happened. And the bad thing that happened was that Hex, my Asian forest scorpion, died. If you recall, in that video I said that he had some mites in his enclosure. Come to find out, those mites are totally harmless, and I just totally regret drying his enclosure out. But one of the ways to get rid of mites like that is to get the enclosure to dry out. That is totally fine to do. They can tolerate dry conditions for a while, and generally they can tolerate them long enough to get rid of the mites. But I do feel like that is why he died, because of the stress of it, which is always a risk, unfortunately, of situations like that. Plus, these guys are generally older and wild caught, so you never really know exactly what you are getting when you buy an Asian forest scorpion, unless it's captive bred. Keep that in mind. So I do have some bad news. I told you guys that he probably wouldn't live very long. He was already very old, and male beetles don't live long, like, at all. But my husband and I tried to preserve him, and this is our first attempt at ever doing anything like this. I'll give you guys some up-close shots, but we didn't really do it, I guess, that well. This is our first try and everything. We didn't use any chemicals. We just dried him out and pinned him, so will this last? I don't know. Depends who you ask, it seems like. Now, I will say that it hasn't smelled or anything like that, but I heard that it can like attract pests and stuff, so you might want to add like mothballs and stuff. Again, I don't really know, but this is what we did. So take it for what you will. So far, so good. It's been like a few weeks, and yeah. Another scorpion that I did preserve is my dune scorpion, and I really don't know what happened. I just found him dead one day, and yeah, it's really sad. So I won't say that this is my favorite way of preservation, because this container is so huge, but at the time it's all I had, and you can always move them to like different jars and such. I'm always on the hunt for little jars to preserve them in. Is that weird? Okay, so next up we have Westar, and I'm sure you guys all remember Westar. He was my first tarantula, a mature male Brachypelma avipulosum who lived a very long time for a mature male. I did preserve him in a video, so I showed you guys, and as you see, it's holding up just fine. There's no yellowing of the alcohol. He still is in the same position, and everything looks good. I'm really glad that I did preserve him like this. I think this looks really nice, and yeah, the rocks and everything are holding up. And possibly one of the most influential tarantulas on this channel ever is my female E. campistratus, Mew. If you recall, she died from impaction. I tried to save her, and that video got like a lot of views, and I know it's helped a lot of people, so I'm super glad that she had like a purpose at least. The preservation is still holding up good. It does have a little tiny bit of yellowness to the alcohol hue. I might change it out eventually. That is because instead of keeping her in the dark, I experimented by keeping her by a bunch of plants for a while. But as you see, I guess the theory does hold true that if you expose the alcohol to sunlight, it will start to yellow. This is my first dead leaf mantis. If you guys recall, it passed away sometime earlier this year and I was super sad. I actually just put him in this jar and planned on preserving him the same way I preserved the others, but I haven't because he actually dried out and I figured we could probably pose him and do something eventually like what we did with the beetle. I think insects are easily dried out to where they're not going to like disintegrate or cause any kind of smells. I'm sure that they can in some cases, but neither one of these has attracted any like pests or anything like that, so I don't know. Okay, so the one that I might preserve, actually I plan on preserving, I just don't have a container that I for sure want to put it in. This is my mature male, Hapalopus species Columbia. And there he is, which I took some nice photographs of him when he did pass away. I posted on my Instagram one. I definitely want to preserve him, but I really want to find like maybe like a little skull or like a little pumpkin shaped glass bottle, something like that. And I'm planning on putting the flower in it with him to see how it goes. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this was a little sad and a little morbid, but it is always nice to kind of be able to preserve your animal just so like you can keep their memory alive. Also, insect and tarantula preservation is like a huge booming business. If you've never seen a keychain with like a scorpion or something in it, then I don't even know what to tell you. And I always wonder like how exactly they do that. I always hope that they're not like killing them just for that. I'm pretty sure though that they're found and then made into the jewelry. At least I hope. Correct me if I'm not. Actually, you know what? Don't tell me. I don't want to know. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not, and you want to be. Don't forget that I have an Instagram that I use probably way too much. It's at Tarantula Kat. You can go follow me there. Alright, thank you guys so much.